Peace and blessings be upon you. In the legacy of Ali ibn Abi Talib, we find profound lessons of humility, courage, and devotion. His life is a testament to the enduring values of justice, wisdom, and unwavering faith. May his example continue to inspire us on the path of righteousness, and may we always strive to uphold the principles of truth and compassion in our daily lives. Ali ibn Abi Talib holds a distinguished place in Islamic history, not only as the cousin and son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, but also as one of the earliest and most faithful supporters of Islam. His close relationship with the Prophet from a young age, combined with his unique role in the development of the Muslim community, makes him an exemplary figure whose life and contributions continue to resonate deeply with Muslims to this day. Ali was born into the noble tribe of Quraysh, specifically from the Hashemite clan, the same family as the Prophet. His father, Abu Talib, was the Prophet Muhammad's uncle, and his mother, Fatima bint Asad, was known for her deep piety and devotion. From his early years, Ali grew up in the care of the Prophet, who took him into his household during a period of economic hardship for Abu Talib. This upbringing allowed Ali to be in close proximity to the Prophet, learning from him and witnessing firsthand his exemplary character. One of the most notable aspects of Ali's life is that he was among the first individuals to accept Islam. He embraced the faith at a very young age, around 10 years old, and was one of the earliest to affirm his belief in the message that Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, was delivering. This early acceptance of Islam highlights Ali's natural inclination toward truth, righteousness, and his deep sense of loyalty to the Prophet. His acceptance was significant because it came during a time when Islam was still in its infancy, and accepting the new religion often meant facing opposition, persecution, and hardship. Yet Ali's steadfastness in his belief never wavered, and his commitment to Islam remained unwavering throughout his life. Ali's early years as a Muslim were marked by acts of bravery and devotion to the cause of Islam. One of the most well-known incidents in which Ali played a crucial role was during the migration of the Prophet from Mecca to Medina, known as the Hijra. When the Quraysh leaders conspired to assassinate the Prophet, Ali volunteered to sleep in the Prophet's bed, fully aware of the danger, in order to mislead the attackers and give the Prophet time to escape safely. This courageous act demonstrated Ali's selflessness and willingness to sacrifice his life for the safety of the Prophet and the success of the Islamic mission. The fact that he remained in the Prophet's bed, knowing that assassins could strike at any moment, speaks volumes about his deep trust in Allah and his commitment to protecting the Prophet at all costs. As Islam grew and the Muslim community established itself in Medina, Ali continued to be one of the Prophet's closest companions and trusted advisors. His knowledge, wisdom, and courage were recognized by all, and he played an integral role in many significant events during the early years of Islam. One such event was his participation in the key battles that shaped the early Muslim community. Ali's role as a warrior was instrumental in the Battle of Badr, the first major battle between the Muslims and the Quraysh, where his valor was critical to the Muslim victory. His bravery in battle was legendary, and he became known for his fierce fighting skills, earning him the title Asadullah, or the Lion of Allah. This title was a testament not only to his prowess on the battlefield, but also to his loyalty and dedication to the cause of Islam. Ali's courage was again evident in the Battle of Uhud, where he fought valiantly to defend the Prophet when the battle took a dire turn against the Muslims. Despite the difficulties and the injuries sustained by the Prophet, Ali stood by his side, displaying remarkable loyalty and strength. His readiness to defend the Prophet at all costs further solidified his reputation as one of the most courageous and dedicated companions of the Prophet. However, Ali was not only known for his physical bravery, his wisdom and knowledge of Islam were equally celebrated. He was regarded as one of the most knowledgeable companions of the Prophet. His deep understanding of the Quran, Islamic law, and spirituality made him a respected authority on religious matters. Ali's intellectual contributions to Islam were vast, and he became known for his eloquence, particularly in delivering speeches and sermons that were rich with wisdom and insight. His sayings and teachings, compiled in works like Naj al-Balagha, the Peak of Eloquence, continue to be a source of inspiration and guidance for Muslims to this day. His ability to convey profound truths with clarity and grace made him one of the most influential figures in shaping Islamic thought. One of the key aspects of Ali's life that often stands out is his profound sense of justice. Ali's commitment to justice and fairness was unwavering, and this quality became even more pronounced during his time as the fourth caliph of Islam. His rule was characterized by a deep concern for the welfare of the people and a commitment to upholding justice, even when it meant facing opposition or enduring personal hardship. He was known for his simple lifestyle, his accessibility to the people, and his refusal to allow favoritism or corruption to take root during his leadership. Ali believed that leadership was a trust from Allah, and he took that responsibility with the utmost seriousness, seeking to ensure that justice prevailed at all levels of society. One of the most challenging aspects of Ali's life came during his caliphate, a period marked by significant political upheaval and conflict. The assassination of Uthman, the third caliph, led to a series of civil wars that shook the Muslim community, known as the First Fitna. Despite the turmoil, Ali remained committed to maintaining the unity of the Muslim Ummah and upholding the principles of justice and righteousness. His caliphate was a time of great difficulty, as he faced rebellions and challenges from various factions within the Muslim community. Yet through it all, Ali demonstrated patience, wisdom, and a strong adherence to Islamic principles. Ali's legacy is not confined to his role as a caliph or warrior. His personal qualities of humility, piety, and devotion to Allah left a lasting impact on the Islamic tradition. He was deeply spiritual, often spending long hours in prayer and reflection, and his love for Allah and the Prophet was apparent in all his actions. His humility is particularly noteworthy, as despite his status as one of the most respected figures in Islamic history, Ali lived a life of simplicity and modesty. He rejected the trappings of power and wealth, instead choosing to live in a way that reflected the true spirit of Islam, one of service, humility, and devotion to Allah. Throughout his life, Ali exemplified the highest virtues of courage, wisdom, justice, and piety. His relationship with the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, his contributions to the growth of Islam, and his leadership during a time of great turmoil have made him a figure of immense respect and admiration among Muslims of all sects. Whether as a warrior, a leader, or a spiritual guide, Ali ibn Abi Talib's life serves as a beacon of inspiration, reminding Muslims of the enduring values of faith, justice, and loyalty to the teachings of Islam. His legacy, deeply rooted in the early days of Islam, continues to influence and inspire generations of Muslims around the world. Ali ibn Abi Talib's role as the fourth caliph of Islam was a pivotal chapter in Islamic history. His leadership came at a time of great political unrest and internal conflict within the Muslim community, a period often referred to as the First Fitna. This time of civil strife was marked by disagreements over the rightful leadership of the Muslim Ummah, the assassination of the previous caliph, Uthman ibn Affan, and the resulting disputes that shook the foundations of the caliphate. Ali's caliphate was defined by his unwavering commitment to justice, his profound spiritual insight, and his determination to uphold the teachings of Islam in the face of immense challenges. Ali's assumption of the caliphate occurred in a time of deep division. Following the assassination of Uthman, the Muslim Ummah was fractured, with many different factions vying for power and influence. Despite this, Ali was widely recognized for his piety, knowledge, and close relationship with the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, which made him a natural choice for leadership. However, unlike his predecessors, Ali inherited a caliphate that was already embroiled in controversy and discord. The murder of Uthman had left many Muslims calling for justice, and various groups within the Ummah had different ideas about how to achieve that justice. One of the most pressing issues that Ali faced as caliph was the demand for retribution for Uthman's death. Several influential figures, including Aisha, the Prophet's widow, and companions like Talha and Zubair, called for immediate action to punish those responsible for the assassination. Ali, however, took a more cautious approach. He believed that the political climate was too unstable to carry out justice without exacerbating the already volatile situation. His priority was to restore order and prevent further bloodshed. Ali's decision to delay the immediate punishment of Uthman's killers was a reflection of his deep sense of justice and wisdom. He recognized that acting too quickly in the midst of chaos could lead to more violence and division, a stance that highlighted his thoughtful and deliberate approach to leadership. Despite his good intentions, Ali's decision to postpone the retribution for Uthman's murder led to tension and eventually opened conflict. One of the most significant battles during Ali's caliphate was the Battle of the Camel, named after the camel ridden by Aisha during the battle. This conflict arose when Talha and Zubair, two prominent companions of the Prophet, along with Aisha, gathered forces to demand justice for Uthman. They believed that Ali had not acted swiftly enough against Uthman's murderers, and this disagreement ultimately led to armed confrontation. The Battle of the Camel was a tragic event, as it pitted Muslims against one another in battle. Ali, despite his personal feelings toward those involved, sought to avoid conflict as much as possible and even tried to negotiate peace. However, the situation spiraled out of control and the battle became inevitable. Ali emerged victorious in this conflict, but it was a painful victory as it symbolized the deep divisions within the Muslim community. Following the Battle of the Camel, Ali's leadership continued to be challenged, most notably by Muawiyah, the governor of Syria and a relative of Uthman. Muawiyah refused to pledge allegiance to Ali as caliph, citing Ali's delay in avenging Uthman's death as the reason for his rebellion. This conflict eventually led to the Battle of Siffin, a significant and prolonged engagement between the forces of Ali and Muawiyah. The battle was marked by heavy losses on both sides, and it became clear that neither party could secure a decisive victory. At a crucial moment during the battle, Muawiyah's forces raised copies of the Quran on their spears, calling for arbitration based on the Quran's teachings. Ali, though initially skeptical of this tactic, eventually agreed to arbitration, hoping to avoid further bloodshed. The decision to submit to arbitration was deeply controversial and led to the emergence of a faction known as the Kharijites, who were former supporters of Ali, but who rejected his decision to negotiate with Muawiyah's forces. The Kharijites believed that Ali's willingness to negotiate was a betrayal of Islamic principles, and they broke away from his leadership. The arbitration process itself proved to be inconclusive, and the division between Ali and Muawiyah persisted. Over time, Muawiyah's power grew, and he established himself as a rival leader, particularly in the region of Syria. The tension between Ali and Muawiyah would not be fully resolved during Ali's lifetime, but this period marked the beginning of the Umayyad dynasty's rise to power, with Muawiyah eventually becoming the first Umayyad caliph after Ali's death. Despite the political turmoil, Ali's leadership was deeply rooted in his commitment to justice and his moral integrity. Throughout his caliphate, Ali maintained a simple and humble lifestyle, eschewing the luxuries and privileges that often accompanied leadership. He was known for his fairness in dealing with people, whether they were his supporters or his opponents. Ali's sense of justice extended not only to political matters, but also to economic and social issues. He worked to ensure that the wealth of the Muslim state was distributed fairly and that the rights of the poor and marginalized were upheld. This sense of fairness and justice won him the loyalty of many who admired his piety and commitment to Islamic values. In addition to his role as a political leader, Ali was also known for his deep spiritual insight. His speeches, sermons, and sayings are filled with profound wisdom and reflection on the nature of life, faith, and justice. One of the most famous collections of his teachings is Naj al-Balagha, the Peak of Eloquence, which contains his sermons, letters, and sayings. In these writings, Ali reflects on the responsibilities of leadership, the importance of justice, and the virtues of humility, patience, and devotion to Allah. His eloquence and wisdom earned him great respect, and his teachings continue to be studied and admired by Muslims around the world. Ali's approach to leadership was deeply influenced by his understanding of Islamic principles and his close relationship with the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH. He viewed the role of the caliph not merely as a position of power, but as a trust from Allah that required the utmost integrity, humility, and commitment to justice. His leadership style was one of consultation and fairness, and he sought to ensure that the needs of the people were met, particularly those who were most vulnerable. Ali believed that leadership was a responsibility, not a privilege, and he worked tirelessly to live up to the high standards set by the Prophet. However, Ali's caliphate was not without tragedy. The political divisions and conflicts that marked his leadership culminated in his assassination. In the year 661 CE, while praying in the mosque of Kufa, Ali was struck by a poisoned sword wielded by a member of the Kharijites, a group that had become disillusioned with his leadership. Ali's death was a devastating blow to the Muslim community, as he was not only a political leader but also a figure of deep spiritual and moral significance. His assassination marked the end of the Rashidun Caliphate and the beginning of the Umayyad dynasty. Despite the challenges and conflicts that defined his caliphate, Ali ibn Abi Talib's legacy as a leader of profound wisdom, justice, and spiritual insight endures to this day. His life exemplified the values of courage, humility, and devotion to Allah, and his contributions to the early Muslim community continue to inspire Muslims around the world. Ali's leadership, though marked by turmoil, remains a powerful example of what it means to lead with integrity, compassion, and a deep commitment to justice in the service of Allah and His people. Ali ibn Abi Talib's wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual insight are some of the most defining aspects of his life and legacy. His profound understanding of the Quran and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, made him one of the most respected figures in the early Muslim community. From a young age, Ali demonstrated remarkable intelligence and deep reflection, traits that would shape his role as a leader, scholar, and spiritual guide for generations to come. His eloquence, his mastery of language, and his ability to convey complex ideas in a clear and compelling manner contributed to his reputation as a figure of immense intellectual and spiritual authority. Ali's relationship with the Quran was unique and intimate. As one of the earliest converts to Islam and someone who grew up under the direct care of the Prophet Muhammad, Peace, Ali had the privilege of learning the Quran from its most authentic source. His understanding of the Quran was not merely intellectual but deeply spiritual. He viewed the Quran as the ultimate guide for life, a source of wisdom, and the foundation for justice and morality. His deep connection to the Quran enabled him to interpret its teachings with clarity and precision, and his explanations of Quranic verses remain influential to this day. One of the key aspects of Ali's knowledge was his ability to apply the teachings of the Quran to real-life situations. Whether it was a matter of governance, social justice, or personal conduct, Ali consistently referred to the Quran as the ultimate source of guidance. He believed that all answers to life's challenges could be found in the Quran, and he encouraged others to seek wisdom from it. His ability to extract profound meanings from the Quran and convey them in a manner that was both understandable and inspiring made him a revered teacher and scholar. Ali's sermons and speeches are filled with reflections on the Quran and its teachings. One of the most famous collections of his sermons, letters, and sayings is Nahj al-Balagha, the Peak of Eloquence, a text that continues to be studied by Muslims around the world. In these speeches, Ali delves into a wide range of topics, including the nature of faith, the importance of justice, the virtues of humility, and the responsibilities of leadership. His words are not only a reflection of his deep knowledge of Islamic teachings, but also a testament to his eloquence and ability to communicate complex ideas in a way that resonates with people from all walks of life. Ali's eloquence was legendary, and it earned him a special place among the companions of the Prophet. He had a way with words that could captivate audiences and inspire deep reflection. His speeches were known for their clarity, beauty, and depth, often addressing both the intellectual and spiritual dimensions of life. Ali's mastery of language was not just a tool for persuasion, but a means of conveying profound truths. His eloquence was an expression of his inner wisdom, and it allowed him to reach the hearts and minds of those who listened to him. One of the central themes in Ali's teachings is the concept of justice. Ali was deeply committed to justice in all its forms, whether it was social justice, economic justice, or political justice. He believed that justice was the foundation of a just society, and he emphasized the importance of fairness and equality in all dealings. For Ali, justice was not just an abstract concept, but a practical principle that needed to be applied in everyday life. He was known for his fairness in judgment, his refusal to tolerate corruption, and his insistence on the equitable distribution of resources. Ali's sense of justice was deeply rooted in his understanding of Islamic principles. He believed that justice was a fundamental part of the message of Islam and that it was the responsibility of every Muslim to uphold it. In his letters to governors and officials, Ali often reminded them of their duty to rule with justice and fairness. He warned against favoritism, corruption, and oppression, emphasizing that leadership was a trust from Allah and that leaders would be held accountable for how they treated the people under their care. One of the most famous examples of Ali's commitment to justice can be seen in his dealings with his own family members. Despite his deep love and respect for his family, Ali never allowed personal relationships to interfere with his sense of justice. When his brother Aqil requested financial assistance from the public treasury beyond what was allotted to him, Ali refused, even though it caused tension between them. Ali's response was clear. He could not compromise justice for personal gain, not even for his own brother. This incident exemplifies Ali's unwavering commitment to fairness and his refusal to deviate from Islamic principles, even when it was personally difficult. In addition to his emphasis on justice, Ali was also known for his deep spirituality. His relationship with Allah was central to every aspect of his life. Ali's devotion to worship was evident in his daily routine, which included long hours of prayer, reflection, and recitation of the Quran. His humility in worship and his deep connection to Allah were a source of inspiration for those around him. Ali often spoke about the importance of cultivating a sincere and personal relationship with Allah, reminding people that true success in life comes from devotion to the Creator. Ali's spirituality was also reflected in his teachings on self-discipline and the inner struggle against the ego. He believed that the greatest battle a person could fight was the battle against their own desires and inclinations. For Ali, spiritual growth required constant self-reflection, humility, and a commitment to purifying one's soul. He often spoke about the dangers of arrogance, greed, and pride, warning that these qualities could lead a person away from the path of righteousness. Instead, Ali encouraged believers to strive for humility, patience, and gratitude, recognizing that all blessings come from Allah and that true contentment is found in submission to His will. Ali's focus on the inner spiritual life did not mean that he neglected the outward duties of faith. He was a strong advocate for social justice, charity, and the care of the less fortunate. He believed that spiritual growth must be accompanied by acts of kindness, generosity, and service to others. Ali's own life was a model of these principles. He was known for his simple lifestyle, his concern for the poor, and his efforts to ensure that the resources of the state were used for the benefit of the people, especially those who were most in need. One of the most touching stories of Ali's compassion occurred during his time as caliph. It is reported that Ali would often walk the streets of Kufa at night, checking on the well-being of the people. On one such occasion, he came across a poor woman struggling to carry water to her home. Without revealing his identity, Ali helped her carry the water, and upon learning of her difficulties, he ensured that she received ongoing financial support. This act of kindness is just one example of Ali's deep sense of responsibility toward the less fortunate and his humility in serving others, even as the leader of the Muslim community. Ali's legacy as a scholar, leader, and spiritual guide continues to inspire Muslims today. His profound knowledge of the Quran, his commitment to justice, and his deep spirituality have made him one of the most revered figures in Islamic history. His teachings provide a blueprint for how to live a life of integrity, humility, and devotion to Allah, and they offer guidance on how to navigate the challenges of leadership, governance, and personal development. Ali's wisdom and insight remain timeless, reminding believers of the values that lie at the heart of Islam: justice, compassion, and unwavering faith in Allah. Ali ibn Abi Talib's contributions to Islamic leadership are not confined to his role as the fourth caliph. His life and legacy encompass much more than political leadership. He was a paragon of moral and ethical guidance, embodying the highest principles of justice, compassion, and spiritual wisdom. His leadership style, which was grounded in humility, fairness, and devotion to Allah, set him apart as a unique figure in Islamic history. His time as caliph may have been marked by political challenges, but Ali's approach to governance, decision-making, and his treatment of others reflect a deep commitment to the values of Islam. One of the defining aspects of Ali's leadership was his absolute insistence on justice. Ali's understanding of justice was not limited to the legalistic or political sense, but rather, it was a holistic concept that permeated every area of life. For Ali, justice meant ensuring that every person received their due, whether they were a wealthy leader or a poor laborer. His governance style was deeply rooted in the belief that justice was a fundamental part of Islam, and it was the duty of every Muslim leader to uphold it. In one of his famous statements, Ali remarked, "Justice is the cornerstone of governance." This shows that Ali viewed justice not only as an ethical necessity, but as the very foundation upon which a righteous society should be built. His commitment to justice extended beyond his public duties as caliph. Ali was known for treating people equally, regardless of their social or economic status. He refused to allow favoritism or nepotism to influence his decisions, and this earned him great respect, as well as opposition from those who sought personal gain from positions of power. One of the most famous examples of Ali's insistence on justice was his refusal to grant special privileges to his brother Aqil. Aqil, facing financial hardship, requested a larger share from the public treasury than was his right. Despite the personal closeness he had with his brother, Ali refused to grant the request, stating that the public wealth belonged to the people and could not be distributed based on familial connections or personal favors. This decision illustrates Ali's unwavering commitment to fairness and integrity, even when it was difficult. Ali also believed that justice should be administered with compassion and mercy. He was known for his gentle treatment of those who wronged him or opposed him politically. Ali's sense of justice was tempered by a profound sense of empathy and understanding for others, and he sought to resolve conflicts through dialogue and reconciliation whenever possible. This aspect of his leadership is evident in his interactions with his political opponents, especially during the tumultuous times of his caliphate. One of the most notable examples of this is the way Ali handled the situation with Aisha, Talha, and Zubair, who opposed his leadership and led forces against him in the Battle of the Camel. Despite their opposition and the eventual military conflict that ensued, Ali treated them with dignity and respect. After the battle, Ali ensured that Aisha, the widow of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, was safely escorted back to Medina, showing his respect for her position and his desire to prevent further division within the Muslim community. Ali's governance was also characterized by his simplicity and humility. Unlike many rulers throughout history, who indulged in the luxuries and privileges that come with power, Ali maintained a simple and modest lifestyle, even as the leader of the Muslim world. He lived in a modest house, dressed simply, and avoided the trappings of wealth and power that often accompany leadership. This simplicity was not a mere personal preference, but a reflection of Ali's understanding of leadership as a responsibility and a trust from Allah, rather than an opportunity for personal enrichment. He believed that leaders should live in a manner that was consistent with the values they preached, and that they should always be accessible to the people they served. This accessibility is another key aspect of Ali's leadership. He was known for his open-door policy, allowing anyone, regardless of their social standing, to come to him with their concerns, grievances, or questions. Ali made himself available to the people, offering guidance, advice, and rulings in matters of both governance and personal conduct. This level of engagement with the people earned him a reputation as a just and approachable leader who genuinely cared for the well-being of his community. It also reflected his understanding that leadership in Islam is not about ruling over people, but about serving them and guiding them toward justice and righteousness. Ali's deep sense of responsibility toward the people extended to his management of the public treasury and the distribution of wealth. He was known for his equitable distribution of resources, ensuring that the wealth of the Muslim state was used to benefit the entire community, especially the poor and the marginalized. Ali worked tirelessly to eliminate corruption and ensure that wealth was not concentrated in the hands of a few elites. He believed that the wealth of the state belonged to the people, and it was the duty of the caliph to distribute it fairly. His policies in this regard were a reflection of the Islamic principles of charity and social justice, which emphasized the importance of caring for the less fortunate and ensuring that everyone has access to basic needs. In addition to his policies on justice and fairness, Ali was also a deeply spiritual leader who infused his governance with a sense of piety and devotion to Allah. His connection to Allah was at the center of every decision he made, and he consistently reminded his followers of the importance of maintaining their relationship with the Creator. Ali viewed leadership as a spiritual responsibility, and he believed that a true leader must always act in accordance with the will of Allah, seeking to uphold the principles of Islam in every aspect of governance. His sermons and speeches often contained reminders about the transient nature of life, the importance of preparing for the hereafter, and the need to live with humility and gratitude. Ali's spirituality was also reflected in his personal conduct. He was known for his frequent prayers, fasting, and acts of worship, often spending long hours in reflection and contemplation. His humility in his relationship with Allah was evident in his prayerful attitude and his constant awareness of his responsibilities as both a servant of Allah and a leader of the Muslim community. This deep spirituality earned him great respect among his followers, who admired his dedication to worship and his ability to combine political leadership with profound religious insight. Ali's leadership was not without challenges, and the political turmoil of his time made his role as caliph difficult. The divisions within the Muslim community and the rise of opposition forces created a complex and often hostile environment. However, through all these difficulties, Ali remained steadfast in his commitment to justice, fairness, and the principles of Islam. He refused to be swayed by political pressure or the temptation to act in self-interest. Instead, he consistently sought to uphold the truth and ensure that his decisions were in line with the teachings of the Quran and the example of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH. Ali's leadership, both as a caliph and as a spiritual guide, continues to be a source of inspiration for Muslims around the world. His example of humility, justice, and devotion to Allah provides a model for how leaders should conduct themselves, not only in times of peace and stability, but also in times of conflict and uncertainty. Ali's life reminds us that true leadership is not about power or privilege, but about serving others, upholding justice, and remaining steadfast in one's faith and principles. His legacy as a leader of profound wisdom and righteousness continues to resonate across generations, offering timeless lessons on what it means to lead with integrity, compassion, and unwavering dedication to the path of Allah. Ali ibn Abi Talib's character, deeply rooted in his faith, stands as a beacon of spiritual guidance, ethical leadership, and personal humility. Throughout his life, Ali embodied the qualities of patience, wisdom, courage, and deep piety. These virtues made him a model not only for leaders, but also for anyone striving to live a life of righteousness and service to others. His spiritual insights, his understanding of justice, and his unwavering commitment to upholding the teachings of Islam have left a lasting impact on Islamic thought and the lives of Muslims around the world. One of the most striking aspects of Ali's character was his humility. Despite being the cousin of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, his son-in-law, and one of the closest companions of the Prophet, Ali never sought personal glory or recognition. Throughout his life, Ali remained humble, even when he was chosen as the Caliph, a position of immense authority and responsibility. Rather than indulging in the trappings of power, Ali chose to live a simple life. He dressed modestly, lived in a humble home, and avoided the luxuries that often accompany leadership positions. This humility was not just an expression of personal modesty, but it was rooted in his understanding of leadership as a form of servitude to Allah and the people. Ali's humility is perhaps best illustrated in his dealings with others, especially those who were less fortunate. Despite his high status, Ali was always accessible to the common people. He would walk among them, listen to their concerns, and offer his advice and assistance whenever possible. He did not separate himself from the people, even though he held a position of great authority. His willingness to engage with the poor, the marginalized, and the oppressed was a reflection of his deep empathy and compassion. Ali understood that true leadership meant serving the people, not ruling over them. His humility in leadership was a powerful reminder that in Islam, authority is a trust from Allah, and those who hold it will be held accountable for how they treat those under their care. Another key characteristic of Ali was his profound sense of patience, especially in the face of adversity. Throughout his life, Ali faced numerous challenges, both personal and political. From the early struggles of Islam in Mecca to the tumultuous period of his caliphate, Ali was constantly tested by difficult circumstances. However, he never allowed these challenges to deter him from his mission or to shake his faith in Allah. His patience, or sabr, was one of his defining qualities, allowing him to navigate even the most trying situations with grace and dignity. One of the most significant examples of Ali's patience was during the First Fitna, the civil war that erupted following the assassination of Uthman, the third caliph. Ali faced enormous pressure from various factions within the Muslim community, each with their own demands and grievances. Despite the immense difficulty of this period, Ali maintained his composure and sought to resolve conflicts through dialogue and negotiation whenever possible. He was not quick to anger, nor did he rush to use force to settle disputes. Instead, he remained patient, always seeking to find the most just and peaceful solution. This patience was deeply rooted in his trust in Allah and his belief that justice would ultimately prevail, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. Ali's wisdom was another defining feature of his character. He was known for his deep understanding of the Quran and Islamic teachings, and his ability to apply this knowledge to real-world situations. His speeches and sermons were filled with insights into the nature of faith, the responsibilities of leadership, and the moral and ethical principles that should guide a Muslim's life. Ali's wisdom was not limited to religious matters. He was also known for his sound judgment in political and legal affairs. His fairness in resolving disputes and his deep sense of justice made him a trusted advisor, even to those who opposed him politically. Ali's wisdom was perhaps most evident in his ability to balance the demands of leadership with his spiritual responsibilities. He understood that leadership in Islam was not simply about political authority, but it was also about guiding people toward righteousness and ensuring that justice was upheld in all aspects of life. His deep understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah allowed him to make decisions that were not only politically astute, but also in line with Islamic principles. This balance between political leadership and spiritual guidance was one of the reasons why Ali's leadership was so highly regarded. even by those who may have disagreed with him on political matters. Ali's courage, both physical and moral, was another hallmark of his character. Throughout his life, Ali demonstrated immense bravery, whether on the battlefield or in standing up for what was right, even when it was unpopular or difficult. As a warrior, Ali was unmatched in his skill and valor. He played a crucial role in many of the early battles of Islam, including the Battle of Badr, the Battle of Uhud, and the Battle of Khandaq. His bravery earned him the title Asadullah, or the Lion of Allah. However, Ali's courage was not limited to the battlefield. He also showed great moral courage in his leadership, consistently standing up for justice and fairness, even when it meant facing opposition from powerful figures within the Muslim community. One of the most significant examples of Ali's moral courage was his refusal to compromise on issues of justice and fairness, even when it would have been politically expedient to do so. For example, during his caliphate, Ali refused to appoint governors or officials based on their personal loyalty to him. Instead, he chose individuals who were known for their integrity and competence, even if they were not personally aligned with him politically. This insistence on justice, rather than favoritism, earned him the respect of many, but also created enemies among those who sought power for their own benefit. Despite this opposition, Ali remained steadfast in his commitment to justice, never wavering in his belief that leadership was a trust from Allah that required fairness and integrity at all times. Ali's deep spirituality was also central to his character. His connection to Allah was the foundation of everything he did, and he constantly reminded others of the importance of maintaining a close relationship with the Creator. Ali's speeches and writings are filled with reflections on the transient nature of life, the importance of preparing for the hereafter, and the need to remain humble and grateful for Allah's blessings. He often spoke about the dangers of worldly attachments, reminding believers that true success lies not in wealth or power, but in devotion to Allah and living a life of righteousness. Ali's spirituality was also reflected in his personal conduct. He was known for his frequent prayers, fasting, and acts of worship, and he often spent long hours in reflection and contemplation. His humility before Allah was evident in his constant awareness of his responsibilities as both a servant of Allah and a leader of the Muslim community. This deep spirituality not only shaped his personal life, but also influenced his approach to leadership and governance. Ali understood that all power ultimately belonged to Allah, and that his role as a leader was to serve the people in accordance with Allah's will. Ali ibn Abi Talib's character, his humility, patience, wisdom, courage, and spirituality set him apart as one of the most remarkable figures in Islamic history. His life serves as a timeless example of what it means to live a life of integrity, devotion, and service to others. Ali's unwavering commitment to justice, his deep connection to Allah, and his ability to navigate the challenges of leadership with wisdom and compassion continue to inspire Muslims to this day. His legacy as a leader, scholar, and spiritual guide is a testament to the enduring values of Islam and the principles that should guide all believers in their journey toward righteousness and closeness to Allah. Thank you for watching. If you found inspiration in the life and wisdom of Ali ibn Abi Talib, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on Islamic history and teachings. May peace and blessings be upon you all, and until next time, keep seeking knowledge and living with compassion.